Are you in need of legal assistance? Look no further than the Prugh Law Office. Our experienced attorneys specialize in family law, criminal defense, and personal injury cases. We are dedicated to providing personalized and compassionate representation to our clients. Located on the square in Waynesville, just across the street from the courthouse, call us today at 573-774-6444 or by email at prughlaw@aol.com for a free consultation. Prugh Law Office, your trusted legal partner in Waynesville.
Hello, everybody. Doug Fowler here from Show-Me StreamCast down here in the undeclared capital of Central Missouri, St. Robert. Sitting here with Brandon Swartz, candidate for Missouri House of Representatives seat. How are you doing, Mr. Brandon?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me.
That's great. Thank you so much. Don't forget to pull that mic close.
Oh, yeah.
There we go.
There we go.
If you can't hear yourself in the speakers. First and foremost, shout out to the sponsors of the show, as always, Prugh Law and Prugh Law Office down there in Waynesville, Missouri. They keep the lights on and us keeping able to do this show. Supports free speech. And if you'd like to be a sponsor, contact me at our website, pulaski-podcast.com, and send us a note. Very affordable rates we got going on, but also you support us, keep us some good equipment, pay the internet and the like. Next week, Monday, we got R2C Remote Control Racing Store coming in. Jesse from the store is coming in at 5 o'clock. Make sure you tune in on Monday, 5 o'clock. Before we get started, Brandon, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
Oh, that's good.
A little tired, ready for the weekend.
Now we're going to get some background on you. We're going to do a little resume drill and stuff like that, and you get lucky enough to spin the wheel.
Okay.
I figured I'll do it. My spinner's upstairs, so if anybody's having problems listening or hearing, not listening but hearing, make sure you chime in and let us know you can hear it, because sometimes it looks like it's working on our end, but Murphy takes over and takes charge. Yeah, that's for Brandon. There you go.
All right, yeah.
So, Brandon, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience? Now, we only got a few online right now, but usually we get about 2,000 to 3,000 people watching these things. So introduce yourself to the general public and let them know what you want to know about them.
Okay, yeah, my name's Brandon Swartz. I've lived in the area here for a little bit over a decade. My wife is who brought me to the area after I finished law school. And, I'm kind of boring. I go to work, I come home, and I see my wife and kids generally, and then, I got the idea to do this.
Right.
I actually, as I was coming down your neighborhood, I noticed this is a place I canvassed back in 2018.
Really?
Yeah, I ran for judge against Judge Hedrick.
Gotcha.
So I don't know if you were here in 2018, but
Yeah, we've been here a long time.
you probably have a little bit fatter version of my face back when I had glasses.
I am the last person to make fun, because I can't make fun of fat people because I am fat. So it's just like bald people. I haven't got a scratch left. So
I'm lucky so far on that. I hope my dad's not listening. He was completely bald by the time he was my age. Right now, I still have my hair, but
I have to prove it to my grandkids that I had hair. Not only that, I could rock a flat top, and I even had a perm in high school.
oh wow,
Yeah, we were rocking it.
yeah. No, I've never done a perm. I had pretty long hair. I was trying to grow it out until right before the first event. I actually got a haircut before that debate.
Oh, really?
Like 2 days before, I had a beard down to here. But my problem is it just curls so much.
Right.
I've got a really curly beard, and so there was no way to really get it the length I wanted.
I shaved this off once since 2001.
I shaved during COVID lockdown because I couldn't get the mask over my face.
I just used this. I just wanted to.
It looked ridiculous, and I was like, you know what, just I'll deal with it.
Say, you said you had kids. How many kids you got?
Got 3 kids. I got a high schooler. She's 15. I've got a middle schooler.
We need to tag her, don't we? Need to tag her on Facebook.
She actually does not have Facebook. We keep our kids off social media. The closest thing she has to social media is YouTube and YouTube Shorts, which she calls YouTube Shorts TikTok, even though she's not on TikTok.
Oh, I watch the shorts too. That's where you get that and Instagram. But I watch this is actually on YouTube too, so she may populate.
Oh, they might.
But anyway,
although we're not.
What's her name?
Her name's Corey.
Corey, nice to see you. Hopefully you chime in.
Hopefully you're listening, Corey. She's probably busy playing a game or taking a post-school nap. She's been finishing school, but then she naps for an hour before she pops her head back out of her room.
I've never met a nap I didn't like. I don't know. We're gonna get to the tough questions that I told you before. These no freebies, and the audience. He has not seen these questions or heard of them. These are the first time to him. So he is a candidate for public office. And one of the things I think I would like to know is what motivated you to run for public office?
So specifically this time, why did I put my name in the Dobbs decision and what effect it's had? My wife and I, we had to make some difficult decisions
Sure.
while she was pregnant with our third child. Both her second and third pregnancies were really difficult.
Right.
I think those are personal choices, family choices, and the fact that the government is just stepping in into our bedrooms, into our into our doctor's offices and making decisions that I don't think they should be making was kind of the final straw. I've always been politically minded.
Sure.
But I can't just stand back and complain anymore online. Right. I was like, you know what? I'll do it.
Right.
So it's not fun, and my wife's not happy about it.
I was about to ask. I refer to my boss as Household 6, my military background. She's the boss. I was just about to ask you, what did she think of this endeavor?
She reminds me constantly that she told me not to do it, and I ignored her. So I try to, I've been cleaning a lot more.
Sure.
Doing the dishes a lot more. She hasn't taken the trash out. It's this year.
Well, refresh those memories out there, including mine, what the Lowe decision was.
Okay, so the Dobbs decision.
I get way off.
So the Dobbs decision is what reversed Roe v. Wade and Casey v. Planned Parenthood.
Okay.
And so everybody knows Roe. Casey was actually the case that was in control. Right. There had been another abortion decision the Supreme Court had made. I think late 80s, early 90s. Right. It was called Casey. It actually got rid of the trimester and sent us to viability because the trimester was, I think, decided. I'm not great at ages, but Roe was decided in like the late 60s, I think. So the science had advanced, and they're like, oh, well, we're going to put that hard line at viability now.
Right.
The Dobbs decision blew Roe up, but also what was really concerning is Justice Thomas wrote in it that he doesn't believe any of the privacy decisions are correct. So that's his concurrence,
right?
But Justice Thomas has kind of been leading the pack since Justice Scalia passed,
correct?
And so when he says, and like he named him, he named Obergefell, which I butcher every time. I wish that decision had an easier name. That's the decision that gave us the legality of same-sex marriage. It named Lawrence v. Texas.
Right.
And that was the one that made it to where you couldn't arrest people for being gay. It named, I can't remember it, but basically it's the first decision which was somewhere in Connecticut. It might have been Connecticut via Planned Parenthood. I'm sure I'm wrong, and somebody will be like, oh, can you believe this lawyer doesn't know his case law by heart?
There's a lot of case law out there, from what little I know of the law.
But that one is actually, I think it was Connecticut, they required you to be married and have a marriage license to buy condoms.
Really?
Yes. So the one thing he didn't put in there, but it's part of that string of decisions, is actually Loving v. Virginia, the one thing that would affect him, which is allowing marriages of individuals of different races.
Wow.
So, carve out something special for himself.
Well, sure.
Privacy for me, but not for thee.
And paid for business trips, but we won't go there.
I'll go there all day.
There's some things. Now, I want to go back to your background. You surprised me when you came in and you told me you work for the Public Defender's Office. How long have you been a lawyer? Where'd you go to law school?
Okay. So I'm Missouri born and bred.
Right.
The majority of the time I've spent outside of Missouri was actually in Europe. I lived in the Netherlands, right on the Germany border.
Nijmegen?
Nijmegen.
Oh, in the Army or just family?
College.
Oh, what a lucky guy. I was born in Zwolle.
Okay, all right. That's
Eindhoven.
Yeah, that's not too far.
Not Eindhoven. My mom's watching. She'd shoot me. She's over there right now.
Did you ever get up to like Arnhem and go to the zoo and stuff?
All that Arnhem, Maastricht. And I had the Oma and Opa from Holland, and we used to go when I was stationed over there. We was able to travel up there with my kids and go see. That's a heck of an opportunity. Now, of course, I love Holland. Kind of partial, kind of crowded though.
It's a beautiful country.
Yeah,
I loved it. And so I lived in Europe, and that's the vast majority of the time I've ever really spent outside of Missouri for a long time. I went to college at Northwest Missouri, where I met my wife, and then
where's that? Maryville?
That's Maryville.
Okay.
Yeah, Northwest, right next to the Iowa-Nebraska border.
35.
Yep, right up there. It's a really boring drive.
Yeah, I've done it many times from Fort Riley.
And then went to University of Missouri, Kansas City for school of law for law school.
Right.
Went there right out of law school, right out of college. My wife and I, we had a child, our last year of college, and so we were crazy enough to try to go through law school with a kid. And
she wasn't going at the same time, was she?
No. She.
I couldn't imagine that.
Oh, no. She works from the home, and she takes care of the kids and the zoo we have. She's a animal lover and a kid lover. I wanted one. She wanted three. She won.
Well, of course.
Yeah, and so and I love the other two I got, but like if anybody had asked me, like, yeah, one's enough.
Right.
I still question why anybody lets me parent, but my kids say I'm not horrible.
Well, that's about as good a compliment as you're going to get.
Yeah, I don't think they'll appreciate me until they're in their 30s.
So after law school, where'd you start working?
So 2013 was a bad year for lawyers. That was a bad year in the economy, period.
Well, I mean, lawyers are bad, but
yeah, well,
genuinely, but maybe you're.
I went to law school knowing I was going to go into massive debt, and there was only one way I was going to pay it off. I went to go
become a lawyer.
Well, no. I mean, I could have gone into corporate law. I would have never seen my family. I'd have been working 80 hours a week and making $200,000 a year. That's not what I decided to do.
Money is not the root of happiness.
No. So I decided probably my second year of law school, I was going to work for the public defender's office. I had a real passion for it. And unfortunately, when I graduated, they had a hiring freeze.
Really?
Yes. There was no money. There were no positions. So I took a job with H&R Block as a tax attorney, and I worked that for a little under a year.
Right.
I did this horrible stuff called doc review on the side as well. So I had two jobs. I had a third job that caused the biggest fight of my marriage, which was bartending. My wife was like, "Hold on, wait, you just spent $200,000 to go get the same job you had before?" And I was like, "Yeah, but I don't have my bar license yet." So
gotta have it to practice.
It's so terrible.
Sure.
So, but it worked out. Eventually, the hiring freeze ended, and there was a position in Rolla.
Right.
And her parents lived down here in Waynesville, and they were so wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
While we were in law school, they just absolutely adored our children, our daughters at the time. We had our son while we were here.
Sure.
And, it was a pretty easy decision. They let us move in and search for a house while I was working. So we moved in June of 14 and bought our first house in September of 14. So... didn't overstay our welcome too much.
Sure.
And I've been here ever since.
So you're a public defender in Phelps County?
No, so how the public defender works.
Is it like circuit clerk?
It works as a circuit.
Circuit, right, or circuit judge.
So we cover the entirety of the 25th, Phelps, Pulaski, Marys, and Texas County.
25th District?
25th Judicial Circuit.
Okay, circuit.
Yes. And then the 42nd Circuit, we did cover two counties, Crawford and Dent County. There's been another office that has since taken Crawford. There's a whole thing. I don't know. It's above my pay grade.
Sure.
But so my office is in Rolla.
Right.
But I office with a bunch of other people. I've got a boss.
Right.
So even though I'm the senior for Pulaski County, I do answer to two really wonderful women that I respect a lot, who are just great bosses. And then the boss of the entire southern area of Missouri also offices in our office, and he's a real great guy. He used to run our office.
Okay.
So I've been very lucky. I'm just surrounded by people that have helped me advance as a lawyer.
Sure.
Really hone my craft, I think, and they're genuinely good people.
Yeah.
So I'm glad.
So you live in Rolla. You got some miles on the vehicle, I bet.
Oh yeah, because I live in Waynesville. I run to Rolla. Car's paid off. It's at 180,000 miles.
Rolling.
I'm gonna roll that thing until it's dead. Yeah, I don't need a new car.
Well, that's a great background. Thank you so much for providing that. Now, going from 25th Circuit, Judicial Circuit, to what district are you running for? I can't remember. Is it?
It's the 121st.
121st District. Well, that includes which cities?
So that's gonna be Waynesville, St. Robert, right up to kind of that quasi-Dixon area
Right.
on, what is it, 28?
Right.
Yeah. Fort Leonard Wood as well. It's still kind of unclear exactly how that works. Missouri voters that live in the Fort Leonard Wood vote in
Right.
121, but obviously most of the people in Fort Leonard Wood, not
Sure,
Missouri
sure,
voters.
exactly. They vote from home.
Yeah. So that's the area. And it's it's my home area.
Sure.
For like, I've almost lived here. It's actually probably the city, like
Right.
if you count city, the city I've lived in the longest.
Really?
Because I lived in Lee Summit for a while, Independence, Blue Springs. I just kind of migrated all over Kansas City as a kid.
How long has the incumbent been in office now?
So,
Mr. Hardwick.
Bill Hardwick. He's been in, let's see, I think he ran in, I want to say he ran in 2020.
Okay.
And then he ran in 2022. So this would be his third term. I could be incorrect. I think this actually might be his fourth term. So he might have ran in 2018 when I ran for judge.
And there's the term limits of how many?
4.
4 term limits. Okay.
4 term limits.
Now, we're in this district. You run for state representative. What would you say is the number one issue facing this district? That you can make try, I should say. I mean, pretty heavily weighted towards the Republican side right now, but
yeah,
the task for you will be huge to overcome those barriers. But what do you think that's going to occupy most of your time for the district?
So the big thing I want to focus on is labor.
Right.
Working to make sure that our workers get a fair shake. Now, unfortunately, one of our biggest employers around here is going to be Walmart.
Sure.
We're actually pretty lucky in the Pulaski area because it is possible to go get a decent hourly wage at, it was called EDP.
Right.
I don't know what they call it now, but I hear it's got a new name.
Yeah, I know. I don't know it either, but working on posts there.
Working on posts is great. Anybody that can get a federal job,
Sure.
they're doing really well here.
Sure.
But I still think people that work, 40 hours a week should be able to afford rent, food, the basics.
Sure.
And when you're working for a giant corporation, like, if you're working for McDonald's, people don't think of it as a giant corporation,
Sure.
but Walmart, McDonald's, the fast food chains that are competing against our locals,
Mm-hmm.
they're, the locals, they're hiring 1 or 2 people, and then the owners are working.
Right.
And those owners, they're not making 500, 1,000% more than the people that are
Right.
working right next to them. But the people that aren't working, hard jobs, they're, on their yachts or, going to a board meeting in a nice suit and air conditioning and not next to a fryer.
I could be wrong, but I think I heard the Starbucks CEO makes $100-something million, or that could have been Nike.
Last I heard about Starbucks is they're wanting to boot their CEO and go back to Schultz because they're hurting.
Sure.
Nobody's buying their coffee.
Well, and I have to agree with you. The price of stuff in general has gone up.
Yeah.
But a common rule of thumb is that quit creating a demand for it. Therefore, the supply will increase, prices go down. I.e., I made a little comment on my own personal Facebook page. If you're tired of paying $5 for a Big Mac, then don't. Prices will go down sooner or later. It may take a while, but the same concept with other things. If we don't want the $500 TVs, quit buying them. Or no, actually, that's a little cheap. That one's like $200 for a 55. It's ridiculous.
I was going to say, that's the only thing that's really gone down in price.
Is electronics?
Electronics are the
Sure.
only thing that go down these days.
Yeah, food is crazy right now. I mean, food, groceries, and they want to blame the inflation on the current or past or previous or soon to be administration, but I think there's a lot more complex than just blaming policies, because when they take so long, it's like a battleship. It takes so long to affect and to make change.
Well, so I'm, my degrees are in English, geography,
Sure.
and law. So I don't have an economics degree, but
Right.
I've taken a couple economic classes, and I'm not, Greenspan. But
Sure.
I do think that, blaming it all on demand side and nothing on supply side, it is absolutely ridiculous. And so when you give people money or when you pay them more, yes, you are possibly increasing demand.
Sure.
But also there's just some things that they are either artificially creating scarcity.
Sure. Yes.
Or and like there's times when we're having some problems with chicken right now. They've had to cull a lot of chicken because there's been a bird flu epidemic throughout a few states.
Right.
So I get it, but the bigger issue is like there's 3 companies that own 95% of the chicken we eat.
Right.
So where's the competition?
And look at the top end salaries.
Yeah. And if you're a farmer, you're not going to the local farmers market generally and selling. You're going to Tyson and saying, "Hey Tyson, buy my chicken," and they're the ones dictating the price they're paying. You don't dictate the price they're going to pay you.
Because you can't sell it anywhere else.
No. And so I think, for our farmers down to our minimum wage workers, that's the biggest problem facing the whole of rural Missouri. People are desperate, but they can't leave. And personally, I don't want them to leave, but I'm worried more and more people are like, well, the only place I'm going to make it is St. Louis.
Sure.
The only place I'm going to make it is Kansas City.
Right.
Or I guess more and more people move to Springfield, but
right.
So
yeah. Now, how do you believe your professional and personal experiences and background will help you have prepared you for the role as representative for this district?
So definitely going through law school is helpful.
Right.
I know people hate lawyers because everybody hates a lawyer until they need a lawyer.
Well, of course. It's like the worst time in your life is usually when you either need an emergency response or a lawyer.
Yeah. If you're talking with a cop, a doctor, or a lawyer, you're usually not having a good day. I guess maybe, if you're seeing your primary care physician.
Right. That's different.
But yeah, if you're in the emergency room, that's a bad day.
Yeah.
If you're in my office, you're having a really bad day.
Yeah.
But through law school, one thing I learned was just how much a lawyer can change.
Sure.
Either through filing a lawsuit for an individual that's being wronged, by advocating different positions.
Sure.
One thing is just I know how to write laws.
Right.
I've gone through drafting. I've seen good laws. I've seen bad laws. And that's not talking about the content of what they're trying to do. It's just the language.
Right.
If you go and look up our driving while revoked law in Missouri, it's asinine.
Really?
It's just a jumbled paragraph of different ways that you can make this, what is a fine for your very first one, become a felony, depending on how many driving while revokes or how many driving while intoxicated or administrative exposures you've had.
Right.
And then at the very bottom, and I hate this thing, it says, or for a fourth conviction of any, or as a fourth conviction of any offense. And so there's actually a Missouri Supreme Court ruling that has said that means anything. So you could be a first-time driving while revoked, but you could have had a bunch of possessions in your 20s.
Right.
And suddenly you have a new felony driving while revoked, even though you've never had a driving while revoked before. And that's just bad law drafting.
Right.
But the Supreme Court technically did what is right and said, we can't change the law.
It was written that way.
That's how it's written, so that's how we're going to read it.
The legislative branch drafts and writes the law.
Yeah, and I actually, that was the first thing I ever talked to Steve Lynch about.
Really?
I met with him in 2015. I was like, hey, I've redrafted this. I know you're not on the Judicial Committee. Could you take this to somebody at the Judicial Committee? Just putting a couple of A, B, C paragraphs, subsections, and deleting this sentence will make so many people's lives easier.
Wow.
And another thing, specifically towards rural areas, driving while revokes, it's not part of the law, it's part of the administrative apparatus, but you can make a law about it. They suspend your license if you're not paying your child support.
Sure.
I've seen so many men where that's their first time in prison.
Wow.
They get a driving while revoked, because
They failed to pay child
they're
support.
failing to pay their child support. So we don't have a dangerous driver. We don't have an alcoholic that's putting people in danger in the streets. We have a guy who's not paying his child support, and suddenly he's becoming a felon for, how else is he supposed to get to work? He drives.
They
he
pay
drives.
child support.
Yeah. He drives, and so he's
Sounds like
get
he got kneecapped to me.
Yeah, I don't know if you ever watched John Oliver.
Yes, I love John Oliver.
Way back in the day.
Steve Carell's even better. Not Steve Carell, Colbert.
Jon
Jon Stewart's my news source. When he was on the air full time,
yeah, I like him. I like that he's back on Mondays.
Yeah, I do too.
I liked Colbert when he was doing his satire.
Yeah.
I don't like his stuff lately.
It's kind of dried up compared to what it used to be. They all started out with Jon Stewart, though.
They did.
Yeah.
In all honesty, and probably shouldn't say this as a Democrat, I think Colbert's too soft on the Democrats. He doesn't call them on their bullshit.
No, you can cuss.
Okay.
We got a disclaimer on the screen.
All right. Yeah. That's one thing I loved about Jon Stewart.
Yeah, he'd get anybody.
He would. There were times where he was ripping into Obama worse than Bill O'Reilly. And that used to be the fire Colbert had on the Colbert Report. I don't know if it's CBS. I don't know what it is, but I don't really watch it.
Yeah, I'm in bed long before that. Even though I could watch it on
the
streaming.
YouTube. That's when I watch it. But Oliver did something on this. It wasn't Missouri. It was Florida.
Okay.
And he had some clever way to call it, but basically it's a cycle. Where these guys end up going to prison over small infractions, but they happen over and over and over again.
Just flooding the prison system, higher tax rate to pay for prison. Wow.
Yep.
All right, let's get back to topics.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry,
No, you're fine.
I'm dangerous like that.
That's fine. Now, polarization is critical. Is a critical failing of our system, I think. Polarization. We talked about some of the topic areas and the belief systems people have that are kind of way out there. I'm sorry, but there's some that are way out there. But anyway, in order for you to pass a bill, draft a bill, to get a bill on the books, you're going to have to work with your counterparts across the hall. How you plan on doing that in this era of polarization?
Well, that's difficult. It depends on who you're talking about. I think in the House, actually, I think oddly enough, because usually the House being the bigger, the bigger chamber has kind of more of the kooks, but I'm gonna butcher his name, Nick Schroer.
I've heard the name.
I don't know how it'd work with him.
Right.
He's in the Senate.
Sure.
Billy Long.
Sure.
He's down in Springfield. I'd try.
Sure.
But there are people there are things that I think conservatives are very reasonable on.
Right.
And I think that there's a big difference between a conservative, which I think there are still conservatives, and I think there are Republicans, versus a Trumplican.
Right.
If we just have a person that's like, I'm here to drink libtard tears.
Right.
I don't know if they're going to work with me no matter what.
To me, regardless of what side, you start off a conversation like that, you have no intention of serving the people that elected you.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not here to see people be in pain.
Sure.
I'm not here to see people lose. During the Republican, it wasn't a debate, it was a question and answer session. Yeah. They asked me, about Trump and his recent conviction, and I still stand by it. I really don't want to see him go to prison for what he's been convicted for.
Right.
I do think he's guilty.
Yeah.
And people have oversimplified it. Colbert's part of the problem.
Sure.
That, for paying hush money. Actually, it would have been totally legal for him to just pay the hush money out of his own pocket.
Rather than cook the books.
That's what he's got. Right. That's what he's found guilty of.
What I get frustrated with, the fact of the matter is the justice system worked the way it was supposed to work, but it just because it against you're my best friend and it went against you. Now I'm all a fuss and I got my signs out and I'm marching.
But I do think that the people that want to see this, I think he's 80 now.
Sure.
I want to see this 80-year-old man go to prison for this offense.
No, nothing like that.
I don't want to see him go to prison for that. Now, I will say, if he's convicted in Georgia, I think we should hold ourselves to a higher standard.
Sure.
I've never been in the position of a prosecutor, but there have been some prosecutors throughout Missouri. Not Kevin Hillman, and I'm not just saying that to suck up, but I actually do really respect Kevin Hillman.
To be honest, I got to comment on that. I've never met a person that doesn't.
I
am sucking up.
Yeah, we have our disagreements, and we've had our fights, and we've had our moments where we won't talk to each other for a day or two. But he is a very good public servant. He's really good
yours?
for. That might have been mine. Yeah,
that's fine. I just want to make sure I'm not missing it. We got buzzing over here, folks. Don't mind us.
Yeah, more alerts. But yeah, I think that we. I work with Kevin constantly. He's a conservative. He's been a Republican since, probably when I think he's 15 years older than me. So he's probably been a Republican since I was in elementary school.
Right.
We still get along.
You still can. He can be cordial.
Yes. Well, I will honestly be cordial to even people that I have not just fundamental disagreements with, but there are people that I just don't like, but I'm still cordial to them.
You're better than me. I ain't got no time for that. I mean, it's coming to time and place, at least in my life. So I don't have time for the what I believe is just pure idiocy. But that's me.
I rarely run into those people. Maybe it's my profession.
Maybe it's because I'm an idiot. I could be the idiot and running into people just like me.
I will say, the place where I get the most anger is not the courtroom. Not it's the highway.
Sure.
which is why I don't carry my gun in my car. It's I was just like, I don't need to be angry and have my gun.
Because it's bad.
I've had people where I'm like, you just tried to murder me.
Yeah. And you want to react.
You do.
I've seen that. Let's go back to the question Q&A. The economy, job growth, top concerns for many voters. How long you been on the campaign trail now?
Well,
Since declaring
would be, I think I had to file back in March.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you been able to get much campaigning in?
I'm going out to the farmer's market on Saturdays. I didn't make it last Saturday because it was supposed to rain, and then of course it didn't rain.
Right.
The Saturday beforehand, it wasn't supposed to rain until like 2:00, and then I came home wetter than a rat in a sewer. My wife looked at me and was like, "What happened to you?"
Got baptized on the way home.
It basically looked like it.
Now, with the voters you've been able to talk to in the time since you declared, what do you think to them is their number one issue that they want you to work towards?
Well, the ones that come up and are real hostile, their number one issue seems to be abortion.
Really?
It really does. Yeah. And I know a lot of people that have told me I'll never vote Democrat.
Right.
Because of abortion. No matter what. That is their single voter issue.
Yeah.
I had a gentleman come up to me not last Saturday, but the Saturday before when I was at the farmer's market. He was really concerned about the environment.
Right.
He's like, what can you do? First thing was like, he goes, do you believe in human-made climate change? That was his first question.
Sure.
I was like, if you say no, I'm not voting.
I'm done. Yeah.
Yeah. Like he would have walked away. And that's just who he is. I think though, from most of the people I've talked to, it comes down to the economy. They are having a hard time paying their bills.
Sure.
I've unfortunately, with 3 kids and medical stuff, I've been in the red more months than I've been in the black this year. That's a rare occasion. And I have an emergency fund and I have an emergency credit card, and it's not out of whack, but I'm going to need my refund to get my house in order come next year instead of get to have fun with my refund.
Well, that tells me you can feel empathy.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, so I actually took a pay cut when I started with the public defender's office. I made so little money when I started with the public defender's office that we actually qualified for Medicaid when my wife got pregnant with our 3rd child.
Really?
So we were on Medicaid for her. She was the only one. Me and the kids were on my insurance, but she qualified for Medicaid. And the baby, Oren, he qualified for Medicaid his first year of life. And we were on WIC until he was 3.
Wow.
And then, and now I'm not doing poorly. Now, anybody can go look up my salary. I'm a senior public defender too. There's only one more position that's not management above what I make, and I make $90,000 a year with the 3% raise that they just gave us. That's actually $27,000 more than the median income for our county.
Right.
For the household.
Right.
And I will tell you, I have months where I don't know how I hold it together.
Sure.
And so, yeah, the fact that our median household income is 66, that means there's families out there doing it on 20. There's families out there doing it on less than that. And I was one of those families.
Yeah.
Like getting through law school was a mix of student loans, food stamps, and ramen.
First day on the job at the Capitol, what do you do? What are you going to work towards? What's your azimuth?
It really depends on what happens in November.
Sure.
And that's not if I get elected or not. That's if the abortion ban gets overturned, the bills that I've drafted become unnecessary.
Okay.
But first thing is a bill that specifically gives an exception for rape, then a separate bill that specifically gives an exception
for abortion.
Well, yeah, for abortion
or termination, whatever you want.
I'm fine with the word abortion.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm of the George Carlin belief of we don't need to PC it.
Yeah, then I'm with you.
The second one is a bill that I actually drafted when this legislation that we're under right now was first passed, but didn't go into effect because Roe was still the law of the land. And that was to allow any person with female reproductive organs to request a surgery after the age of 14 to be able to get that surgery. And it couldn't be denied for the result of age. So, and that comes from personal experience. My wife wanted a hysterectomy
right
after our third child, and she fired 3 OBs because they wanted my permission.
Wow.
And then the other bill that I drafted, and I posted both these to Facebook, I think it was 2018, 2017. So I've been drafting bills for forever, is the same thing for males.
Okay.
So, and that's less of an issue, but if we're saying that age is not an exception for getting an abortion, if we think that a 14, 15-year-old girl who is pregnant is responsible enough to have a baby, then she's responsible enough to decide, I don't want to have a baby. I'm going to have a surgery to make sure I can't.
Right.
Because the state of the law right now is at 14, 14-year-olds can have sex with people that are also minors.
Right.
So they are making sexual decisions.
Sure.
And we have to deal with that reality that some of these people are going to end up making a baby they didn't mean to make.
Can you have a vasectomy as a teenager?
You can. Most doctors won't do it.
Really?
Yeah.
A simple reversible procedure.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, I always question, you want to make abortion legal, but why not make a vasectomy illegal?
I
got my own ideas, but it's rhetorical questions.
I do think that part of it is some of the people that are writing these bills are big believers in this, the white replacement theory.
Sure.
And they want more babies. They want more American babies. I don't think they're all racist. I think some of them just think we need more Americans.
Huh.
Which I can understand, but
I think it was Elon said we have a population deficit going right now.
He thinks that.
I said the name. He said it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I agree with that, but
he's got 11 kids.
Sure.
He is a big believer in
procreation,
making more humans.
When you got $165 billion in the bank, you can.
Yeah, 11 kids is nothing.
Nah.
But realistically, from what I've heard, statisticians think that the population of the Earth is gonna hit about 11 billion, and then might decrease, or it might go up. But the big reason that they want continued increase is it's putting capitalism into the idea of creating the human population.
Yeah, labor force.
Because you need more labor and
generate revenue.
Yeah, and so in order to get growth, you need more people.
Yeah,
and I can see where they're coming from. There are things that we would be incapable of doing if we were a small population. Sure. You're not going to be able to have, a massive nuclear energy creation with a small population. You just need people to do things, and there needs to be people to do things to allow other people to think about how to do things.
Let's jump.
Yeah.
Well, one, I'm going to take a break. We're going to put you on pause here and see if my video comes up.
Are you in need of legal assistance? Look no further than the Prugh Law Office. Our experienced attorneys specialize in family law, criminal defense, and personal injury cases. We are dedicated to providing personalized and compassionate representation to our clients. Located on the square in Waynesville, just across the street from the courthouse, call us today at 573-774-6444 or by email at prughlaw@aol.com for a free consultation. Prugh Law Office, your trusted legal partner in Waynesville.
And we're back. Wasn't that quick? Thank you again to Mark Prugh and Prugh Law Office for being a key sponsor. We're going to flip to the spin the wheel. I hope my wheel spinner is ready to go. Let me get the wheel on the screen here.
I just saw this Hawkeyes thing behind.
Oh, that's isn't it beautiful?
My mentor at the public defender's office was a huge Hawkeyes fan.
Really?
Yeah, she actually worked for Kevin for a while before she moved back to Iowa.
Well, if my spinner could spin the wheel for me. And basically each of those categories, I don't know if you can see them.
I'm aiming for guest picks.
Okay. What about sprinkles?
I don't know what sprinkles are.
Sprinkles are the host choice.
Oh, okay. All right.
So let me see. I may have to spin it for the boss. Oh, she's on it. Doggone it. And it is guest picks. What do you want to pick? You can pick any of those topics that are up there.
Any of the topics that are up there. Okay, so we've got historical.
Actually, no. It's sprinkles. It is sprinkles.
Oh, sprinkles. Okay, so you pick.
So I get a pick. What kind of structure is the Missouri General Assembly? Bicameral. Oh, shit! I just gave it away.
So let's pretend you were going to say bicameral or unicameral because those are the only two forms of legislature in the entire country, and it's bicameral.
And what does that mean to the layman?
That means there's two houses. We've got an upper house, the Senate, and a lower house, the House of Representatives.
Same as the federal.
Same as the federal. In fact, Nebraska's the only one that's different.
Great. Now we've got another spin. She's already spun it again. It's up top, and that is the orange one. What does that say?
Terms.
Term limits.
Oh, okay.
What are the term limits for House members?
I'm pretty sure I'm right on 4 terms, 8 years, and then you've got 2 terms for senators.
So a term for a representative is 2 years?
2-year terms, 4-year limits, or 4 limits, so there'd be a total of 8 years, and then for the Senate, 2 terms, 6 years each, total of 12.
Very good. Thank you so much. Wait for the spin. Go ahead and spin. Come on, roll the dice. Come on, roll the dice, roll the dice, roll the dice. There's a big delay. The boss told me there's a delay. There's some buffering. It's just what's weird, this little widget. Let me see here. There it goes. And we are on sprinkles again.
Okay.
Who is the current Speaker of the House?
Oh,
of representatives in the
it's Mike Johnson.
Negative. Dean Plocher.
Oh, in Missouri.
Missouri.
Okay. I would have gotten that wrong anyway. I'll be honest.
That's all right. There's nothing wrong with that.
I'll be honest. That's I would have never remembered his name in a million years.
Next question is regarding structure of the House or of the Senate. How many seats does the Senate have?
32?
Very close, 34. Not too bad. Next spin. We'll do a historical while that one's going.
I like history.
How often are legislative districts redrawn?
Every 10 years.
Very good. Very good. All right. Blue is what? Guest pick. Which one you want?
Oh, let's do historical.
Historical. As of 2024, what is the approval rating of the General Assembly?
In Missouri?
Yeah.
30%.
Well, you're a pessimist, like I said. It's 45%.
Hey, you know what? They're doing okay.
They're doing all right, even with the majority that they have. Sprinkles again, my choice. What year was the Missouri General Assembly established?
1821, right?
Very close. 1820, same year as we became a state.
1820. Okay.
Wait for another one. You're doing pretty good.
It's like playing darts. I always get really close to the bullseye.
Sometimes you don't need to hit the bullseye. All right. What is the political composition of the latest Senate?
Oh, like the 34 breakdown?
Yes.
I think there's 12 Democrats?
24 Republicans, 10 Democrats
10
in the Senate.
Democrats. Okay.
I missed that last one. She spun a little too quick. That's fine. What does that say? That says blue is guest pick.
Guest pick. I'm doing better on the historical than I'm doing anything else.
All right, historical it is. That's too easy. That's too easy. Where does it meet?
Where does what?
The General Assembly.
Jefferson City?
There you go. I told you that's too easy.
Yeah, that is too easy.
All right. We got one more question.
It's actually a really beautiful building.
It is. I mean, you drive by it. We drive by it 6:30. Go.
Even inside, it's gorgeous. The Supreme Court's in like an old brick colonial.
Really?
Yeah, it's really weird. It looks nothing like everything else.
House composition. What is it?
Oh, total number. 143.
No, the split between parties.
Oh, well, I know that they still have a supermajority, but I wouldn't know the split.
111 Republican, 51 Democrats, and 1 vacant.
Okay.
Red is what?
Okay, so I was wrong. It's
Structure.
165.
This is as of today, and whatever source I got this from, I could be just making it up. Age requirements for a House member.
I think it's 25 like the feds.
24.
24.
Senator must be
29.
30. You're one off.
Well, I went one under because it's 30 for federals.
Very good try. Good try. We'll do one more, then we'll let you loose. We talked about that. Residency requirements. Do you have to be a resident of Missouri?
Oh, yeah.
For how long?
It's different for the House and the Senate, but I think it's 4 years in your district.
2 years, voters for 2 years, and residents of the district for 1 year.
Okay.
Senators must be qualified Missouri voters for 3 years and residents in their district for 1 year. So you have to be resident for 1 year.
Okay. Well, I've got those down pat.
Structural, last question. We already talked about that one. I'm going to go off the. If the governor vetoes a bill after adjournment, what day does the General Assembly reconvene? And how long did they have to override it?
I think they reconvene May 15th.
Right.
10 days?
Correct. Well, that's probably the toughest question. Session end. What day does session end?
How many days are there in April?
Well, it's not April.
Is it May 1st?
May 30th.
Oh, May 30th.
Can't
okay.
be the 31st day.
May 30th.
I think you did very good. That's all the spinning we got going on. I'm going to go back to the main scene. Thank you so much.
Are you in need of legal assistance?
We got Mark going on.
Look no further than the Prugh Law Office. Our experienced attorneys specialize in family law, criminal defense, and personal injury cases. We are dedicated to providing personalized and compassionate representation to our clients. Located on the square in Waynesville, just across the street from the courthouse, call us today at 573-774-6444 or by email at prughlaw@aol.com for a free consultation. Prugh Law Office, your trusted legal partner in Waynesville.
All right. Which one's that?
Right there.
Oh, yeah, that's I can't remember. I get drawn a blank. Randy and the daughter's name was the younger daughter.
Yeah, I keep trying to get them to take public defender cases one day.
They won't do it?
Well, they just started out.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. So, but I always like to. We get some private attorneys that'll take some cases occasionally.
Well, as a token of our appreciation, you get some ancient, old-fashioned wear.
I'm looking forward to it.
Pulaski Talks. We're now, of course, Show-Me Streaming, which this represents. I ordered some more paraphernalia, but you get to wear that.
Oh, I love this. This is cool.
It's got the Hawkeye hat on there. You can't miss that. So that's the old design, but I figured I'll give them away to the homeless or public defenders. So
we can be pretty close.
Well, I do thank you for coming in, Brandon.
Yeah.
You are welcome anytime to come in. You want to talk about it while you're on the campaign trail the next couple of months.
Appreciate it.
You know, I'll make myself available. Use this as your platform, as I would tell any candidate.
Okay.
And we want to thank everybody once again to Mark Prugh.
Before we go, can I ask if there were any questions?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. What was I thinking? I got the phone line is open, 573-408-0339. And if you have any questions for Brandon, post them in the comments, or you can call us directly, and you'll be on live on the air. So we'll stand by for you. I wish I had the little ding-dong. Also got a little bit of... Yeah, that's all right. I should have the timer, the Jeopardy. I wish I had that. I'll have to get that sound. That'd be pretty good.
Yeah.
But subject to your question, we'll stay on the air for a couple minutes, and we'll wait for the phone to ring.
Sounds good.
Well, once again, Brandon, thank you for stopping in, and you make yourself welcome at any time. You just let us know. We'll make the show available to you, and bring some friends, family, whoever you want.
Appreciate it. If you wanna reach out to Bill and sit us down, if he's interested, I'll be interested.
Probably go have a conversation.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know, you can...
I have invited him. He seems to have problems responding to my emails, but whatever the case, you can invite him too. Tell him we pass along. You'll probably see him likely as not sooner than I will.
I see him occasionally in court.
Sure. Tell him the invitation's still open.
Yeah.
He said he wanted to do it because we were, at the Republican Party thing, and we were broadcasting. He said he wanted to get on the show. So.
Well, and I do want to, again, thank you for being so helpful with
you're welcome.
passing last week, and sorry for anybody that was wondering why I just bailed. I am sorry about that.
The blessing of IT and the information as of now, they can always go back and record it and watch it later, and so it'll be in perpetuity in the ether. So
here forever.
That's right.
All right.
Thank you everybody for tuning in, chiming in. If you have any comments, you can comment them on our stream here at the comments here. Brandon will get to them later, the later date, maybe on his side. But however, we'll get them to Brandon for you to